Judge Ethan Walker purchased a beautiful mountain home to enjoy peaceful weekends away from the city. Very few people in the HOA community knew that he served as a respected state court judge. Shortly after moving in, Ethan began receiving complaints from HOA President Rebecca Lawson regarding landscaping, exterior lighting, and private property improvements that fully complied with community rules. Despite Ethan's polite cooperation, Rebecca continued escalating minor disputes and publicly threatened legal action against him during HOA meetings. One evening, Ethan received an emergency phone call informing him that his mountain home had caught fire. Firefighters immediately responded to the scene and worked to contain the blaze. Although the house suffered severe damage, investigators quickly secured the scene and began a formal investigation to determine the cause of the fire. Officials declined to speculate until all evidence had been reviewed. During the investigation, security camera footage from nearby properties revealed suspicious activity occurring near the home shortly before the fire began. Investigators obtained witness statements from several neighbors who reported unusual activity on the evening of the incident. Every statement became part of the official investigation file. Attorney Michael Grant immediately advised Ethan to preserve all HOA communications and previous legal notices. Years of documented disputes suddenly became highly relevant. As the investigation continued, Ethan remained professional and allowed law enforcement and fire officials to perform their duties without interference. Months later, the investigation resulted in a civil lawsuit involving insurance claims, property damages, and allegations surrounding responsibility for fire. Rebecca appeared confident as the case moved toward court. Attorney Michael Grant filed a civil lawsuit seeking compensation for the extensive property damage and requested the court preserve all investigation records. The case immediately attracted attention throughout the HOA community. The HOA board members were shocked when they learned investigators had requested copies of years of HOA emails, meeting minutes, and complaint notices involving Ethan's property. Fire Marshal Thomas Reed presented preliminary findings indicating that the fire did not appear to be accidental. Investigators continued examining all available evidence before reaching their final conclusions. Several neighbors voluntarily provided security camera footage showing activity near Ethan's property during the evening of the fire. The growing evidence strengthened the investigation. Rebecca publicly claimed that Ethan was exaggerating the situation to damage her reputation. However, she declined multiple opportunities to discuss the matter through her attorney. Insurance investigators determined that Ethan's losses included structural damage, valuable family heirlooms, and years of personal memories associated with the mountain home. The HOA's legal expenses continued increasing as board members questioned whether Rebecca's personal conflict with Ethan had placed the entire association at risk. During discovery proceedings, attorneys uncovered several HOA communications demonstrating Rebecca's long-standing hostility toward Ethan's property improvements and legal victories in previous disputes. Local residents organized a neighborhood fundraiser supporting Ethan as he began rebuilding his life following the devastating loss of his home. Months later, construction plans for Ethan's new home were approved. Despite the ongoing litigation, Ethan remained focused on moving forward with professionalism and patience. Rebecca remained confident that the lawsuit would fail. She continued insisting that Ethan's accusations were completely unsupported by the evidence. The civil case was officially scheduled for trial. Legal experts anticipated weeks of testimony from investigators, insurance professionals, and property specialists. On the morning of the trial, members of the HOA board arrived expecting an ordinary property damage case. Few knew that Ethan held one of the most respected judicial positions in the state. Although Ethan had properly recused himself from every legal matter involving his own case, news of his judicial career quickly spread throughout the courtroom. Rebecca was visibly surprised when she learned that Ethan served as a senior state court judge. She realized she had spent years underestimating his legal knowledge and professionalism. The presiding judge reminded both parties that all decisions would be based solely upon the evidence presented during the proceedings. Every witness was sworn in accordingly. Fire investigators testified regarding their findings, while insurance experts detailed the extent of Ethan's documented property losses. The courtroom remained silent throughout their testimony. Security footage, witness testimony, and official reports were introduced as evidence according to standard courtroom procedures. Attorneys carefully questioned every witness. Several HOA board members testified that they had repeatedly advised Rebecca to resolve her disagreements with Ethan peacefully and professionally over the years. As closing arguments concluded, the courtroom reflected upon the devastating consequences that can arise when personal disputes are allowed to escalate unnecessarily. Months after proceedings, Ethan's new luxury mountain home stood proudly upon a rebuilt property. The difficult chapter of his life had finally come to an end,